Hey guys, it's Liz, and this video is way past overdue. It's gonna be completely unedited, as in it's just gonna go up straight as it is off my camera, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I want to tell you guys the story of how I found out that I had a connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And I will start with the story before I get into what it is. In March of this year, which is 2018, I decided one day after working out, I was gonna go to the pool. And when I went to jump off the diving board that night, I guess I must have hit the water weird because my back in this lower portion, because you have the top part, the lower part, and right in between where your back bends, hurt like hell. I told my dad and he's like, no, you're fine, everything's fine, you're just hurting a little bit. And I was like, okay. But a week passed and it still hurt the same, no matter what amount of painkillers I was taking. There were about 2 or 3 days I did not go to school that week, and my dad's like, okay, what the hell's going on? And I told him I'm in pain, but he didn't believe me. So on, I believe it was a Tuesday, I went to the urgent care on the corner of this intersection next to my house. And I told them my symptoms, and I was seen by a geneticist. And it was weird because you don't typically see geneticists at urgent cares. You would see them more at hospitals, but apparently she was there for one reason or another, and she wanted to take up my case. When I told her what was going on, she asked me if I had any previous injuries as such, and I told her, well, I had a knee injury from wrestling about 2 years ago that still bothers me. And she kind of gave this look. And for once in my life, it wasn't a, huh, that's weird. It was a, really, kind of look. Because I had been seen for my knee injury multiple times by multiple different people. I had an MRI, I had an x-ray, I did physical therapy for 2 times the amount originally given. I was given pain medications. Nothing worked for my knee. And I gave up on my knee. I really did. And I was just there like, it's gonna hurt, I don't care. And she started describing all of these symptoms. And these symptoms weren't like very obscure. They were dead on and exact. So she asked something like, does it not go away with pain medications? Does it hurt so much that you can't move some days? She was very specific with the symptoms she was describing. And she said, I cannot give you a clinical diagnosis in this office. You need to be seen by a geneticist because I think you have this condition called Ehlers-Danlos, the hypermobile type. Flash forward to almost a month later, and I'm sitting in her office in Nicholas Children's Hospital. And I'm sitting there with my dad because my dad did not believe me. And she goes on to explain what Ehlers-Danlos is. And Ehlers-Danlos is a connective tissue disorder where your body produces faulty collagen. So the collagen surrounding your joints, muscles, and bones isn't strong enough to hold everything in place. And the type that I have, which is hypermobile, means that everything kind of likes to pop out and move around. So she said something like, this is not very typical. My hand is flat right here. Most hands just go up to here. I can also fully place my hands flat in the ground without bending my knees when I go to like touch my toes. So it's creepy, but cool. Oh, and I can do this. Sorry, I didn't mean to creep anybody out. It just happened. But so she showed my dad all of those tests and he was like, that's weird. She's been doing that her entire life. Why hasn't it hurt her before? And I told him, like, I've been hurting since I was like 8 years old. I always had ankle issues. I always had headaches. There's always been something hurting. Why didn't we look into this? Like, we saw a neurologist. Neurologist said, you just have migraines. We saw an orthopedic. The orthopedic's like, I don't know what's going on, you're just hurting. And this was the first doctor to tell me something that made sense. And she told me straight up, this is not something that can be found through tests. This is something you have to look at from its perspective, which explains why I spent 2 years being sent back and forth between my primary and an orthopedic for my knee hurting. And it really hurt because I was given 2 years of being told, you're crazy, you're just hurting, why isn't anything helping? And I had to sit there and explain to them, I'm in pain, there's something wrong. And I had to push and push and push to get a diagnosis that made sense. So we did some genetic testing to make sure that it was the hypermobile kind and not the vascular kind, because apparently the vascular kind can be deadly. Thank God I don't have the hypermobile type. The vascular kind, sorry. I have the hypermobile kind. Can't speak. So she said, okay, well, you do have the hypermobile kind and there's no way to cure it, but there are ways to manage it. So I'm here in July filming this, and I've known I had this condition for about 4 months now. Has it been hard? Yes, it has. It really has been. Has it been easy for others to understand? Absolutely not. I'm currently in a fight with my school to try and get early graduation, because even the geneticist told me, you want to graduate early. You need less stress on your body. I have been going through the process of disability because this is something that's not going to go away, and I'm going to be in pain for a lot of my time on this earth. And I'm going to cry because it's rough being told that you're crazy or what you have isn't real. It's like those people who go about mental health as if it's just a thing. It's like, oh, it's cheese. No, mental health is not cheese. It's the air. You can't see it, but it's there. You know, with cheese, you can see it's there. You can touch it. With mental health or with these invisible disorders or disabilities, you cannot feel them. You cannot see them. It's like fibromyalgia. And it sucks for everybody who has an invisible disorder or disability or whatever it's called. You know that I'm speaking the truth. You know that I'm sitting here and I'm telling you it's real. I know I'm right, and nobody believes me when I say it is. And it sucks because I've had to watch my mom suffer from an invisible disorder, and I'm sitting here suffering from one too now. And I don't like using the word suffer. I really hate it whenever we're talking about health, because I'd rather sit there and be like, I'm not suffering. I am thriving. I am living my life. And it's hard to sit here and say that I'm not. And it really does suck, okay? And I'm not gonna lie about that. But I do want to say a few things to people who believe that they're not being taken seriously. And the first thing I have to say is, if you know something's wrong, do not give up and fight for what you believe in. Please, dear God, that is the worst thing you can do, is give up. Because if I would have given up, I would have been told, oh, you have patellar dysformality or something like that. I'm here like, no, I don't. I don't have that. My kneecaps move around, so what? It's weird to some people, but not to me. I would have been told, oh, you're just in pain, and I would have had to suck it up and take pain pills for the rest of my life. No. I sat there and I fought, and you should too. The second thing is that not everybody's gonna understand, and that's fine, because everybody's raised differently. Like I said, it took my dad being told by a geneticist multiple times, she has this condition, you cannot change it, this is fact. And my grandmother still doesn't believe it. So that's fine, she still doesn't believe I have anxiety or depression. So the last thing I want to say is that you're not alone. And everyone says it, but it's the truth. You're not alone in this. Nobody's alone in anything. And I think that's something not a lot of people know. So, it was a very long video for a very short story, at least in my opinion. If you have a similar issue, leave your stories of discovery down below. I love reading and seeing those things. It just makes me feel happy that you were able to find a solution. My cat's crying to me. And like I said, this is completely unedited. I'm gonna upload this right now and hope that I get something out of it. I know I look like shit. I've been cleaning my room all day, and I've been watching a show called The Late Shift, and there was this one story of a girl who found out she had a disorder after fighting for it. So I think it was season 3, episode 11. You're gonna know what I'm talking about if you've seen this show. So thanks for watching, and in case you're asking, I am not okay, but with the help and support I get from my friends and my family, I will be.